Hello, my name is Shannon Panaro. Today is April 10th, 2020. It's 2:35 in the morning. I wanted to make a diary of what happened to me today. I've been sick for about 4 weeks now. I would say from maybe March 17th. I work at home. I'm not around people a lot. The only place I'm really around a lot of people is if I go to the gym, which I did go once or twice that week. It wasn't overly crowded. I was wiping down things. And then I went out on Saturday with a couple friends to my favorite Irish pub. It was not overcrowded. It was before the capacity was limited to 50%. There was not that many people there at all. I probably was only near a few people most of the evening, and seemed to be fine. The next day, I saw that they were closing everything down. No parade, anything like that. So I had a couple of my friends over for St. Patrick's Day. This is when you were allowed to have groups of 10 or less. I started to feel a little shifty that day. I tried to stay away from everybody. I scrubbed and cleaned my house before. I didn't really feel, that bad. Something was just a little off. And I feel bad that I might have exposed people at that time. And I got more progressively sick. I went to one appointment in a nearby town, Clarence, and I started sneezing. My eyes started running, and I went home. I just attributed it to allergies or something because it was similar to what happens to me when I get your seasonal allergies. I went home and it got worse each day. So this was the Friday after St. Patrick's Day. I remember, sorry. I am in a little pain, but I am on some medicine they just gave me about 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to try to get through this. I went through it once, but I realized the record button wasn't on. So please bear with me. So pretty soon my chest was starting to feel tight, and I started coughing, so I started treating myself for a flu. I was taking Mucinex, and I stayed in my room because I have a 20-year-old daughter and a husband. He's paranoid about germs as it is anyway, so he kept his distance pretty much. So my daughter did a really great job of taking care of me and bringing everything I needed, but I really couldn't get out of my room, my bedroom, for about a week at this point. And I started getting full body chills that I couldn't control. So my husband implored with me to call our doctor. I wish I would have been able to have access to a COVID test at that time, which was about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Time is just running together now with this whole thing going on. So I did not want to worry my mother, who's in her 80s and lives 2 hours away, and my family, so I did not tell them how sick I was. I'm glad I did that at the time. I'll let you know why in a minute. But I just did not want them to worry about me. And that's just how I am. But pretty soon I couldn't work. I couldn't focus on work. anymore. Couldn't get out of bed. I just wanted to sleep all day. The doctor asked me about my symptoms, and I told her I was not having a productive cough. I had a very low-grade fever. It was like 99, 100. I think it was 101 one time. But I realized I was sleeping on a heating pad because I was starting to get aches, which it did help me a little bit with that. All right, I have to remember where I was at. Just hang on with me, please. Okay. So then I was coughing so hard at night I couldn't sleep, and I was keeping everyone up. And the doctor prescribed me some. I was calling the doctor on the phone. She was very responsive, and it was very helpful. And she did not believe at the time that I had this. And from what we understood, there wasn't really tests available unless you had specific symptoms. She thought it was a microbial bacterial infection. And I don't see any other reason why she wouldn't, because I didn't have a painful dry cough. I didn't have a fever. So later we've learned that you don't necessarily have a fever, and you can be asymptomatic and carry things without showing any symptoms. So she gave me about 10 days worth of antibiotics. And the codeine to help suppress my cough. So I took them exactly the way I was supposed to each day. I was drinking smart water with electrolytes all day, plenty of, trying to keep myself hydrated. I was very weak. I really couldn't get out of bed. I really couldn't walk around. And she told me that around the third day I should start feeling better. But I really didn't. And I took the medication all the way up to the 10th day. At that point I did feel better, but I could still tell there was congestion in my chest. It felt like when I would lay down that there were soap suds, like when you do dishes, bubbling in my chest. And if I would cough, I would try to spit out the phlegm and put it in a plastic bag and cover it up. Because I don't know, my soccer coach told me to get it out of your system. It's a virus when I was little, so I've always believed that. So the 10 days were up and I started to feel better. It was a sunny day out. Took my dogs for about a 10-minute walk. Came back home. It was okay for the next few days, still coughing a little here and there. At night I would take the hydrocodone just to make sure I wasn't coughing all night. And then I did start to work again around a week and a half ago. Again, today is Thursday, April 10th. So I worked a little bit, but I would get tired really fast. I would go for short walks when it was nice out, but I would run out of breath very quickly. But I really believed I was feeling better. And my 10 days were up. I was done with everything. Now, I was vaping for about 1.5 years before this. I stopped 3 weeks ago when I started getting sick. And now I find that also can complicate things. So I just want to talk about that. I just got rid of it. It hurt too much to use it. I never really had any problems with it before. It didn't hurt my lungs or anything. It was in the lowest percentage of nicotine, 3%. And I liked it better than smoking. And I've never smoked really, except one time for the last, 1 or 2 years since I've been vaping. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know what happened later, if it's part of that or not, but I wanted to document it. Okay, sorry it's dark in here. It's late at night. Okay, so when I started to feel better, my daughter and I decided to leave the house, which I hadn't done in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't remember, quite a while, since St. Patrick's Day weekend. That was the weekend, because my meeting was on the Friday before that weekend that I started sneezing a little bit. Let me catch my breath for a minute. Okay. So, once I started feeling better, I called my sister and my other sister, and told them that I was sicker than I had let on. And I was worried about Mom, and they both have big mouths, so I didn't tell anyone, because I really felt like it was better. But throughout the last week, I did have a very stressful work week. I probably worked more than I should have. But I'm not one to sit around. I'm an extrovert, and I already missed 3 weeks of work. My customers were calling me. I felt obligated to help them because of everything that's going on. So I did what I could, and I did push out a lot of extra work the last week. Even though you're sitting on your computer, you still have deadlines, and you still have, things that you're supposed to do in a certain way to make other people happy, which is very hard to do when you don't feel like it. But I did the best that I could. And then yesterday morning, and the day before, I should say, I was having a really hard time. I had taken my dogs for a couple walks, but I hadn't really been anywhere else other than the wine store, because I was really looking forward to having some wine and quarantining like all my friends, and I hadn't been able to in a few weeks. But I was very careful where I went, used hand sanitizer after, used social distancing. My daughter wiped everything off when we would bring it home. We really were doing everything we were supposed to. I had thought in my mind that I could have this because it had a lot of other similar symptoms. But in my mind, I was holding on to the two that I didn't have in exchange for all the other ones. And in hindsight, that wasn't the right thing to do. I should have went somewhere and tried to get tested sooner. Even though, from what I understand, it's very difficult to get a test. Somehow a tiger at a zoo can get a test, but not someone that's been sick for a while. So, the next thing that happened was yesterday morning. I had put my humidifier on at night because I was starting to get a little bit of a dry cough, and I just thought it was like the rest of the stuff coming out of my chest. I wasn't hearing the bubbles anymore, so I really thought I was getting better. But I would just get worn out walking to the next room or up the stairs, or if I was talking, or if I would get excited about something and people were talking louder than me, I couldn't talk over them. It would wear me out. And I have to say that my family has been awesome at my house, my daughter and my husband, her stepfather, during that time, because we all are very interesting characters, and we're saucy. Let me just put it that way. So, yesterday morning, finally getting here, I woke up. It felt like I had slept on my back wrong. So I got up, I went downstairs, had a cup of coffee, put my heating pad on my back, and then I actually got down on the floor to do some stretches and typical exercises I do. It just felt like there was like a rib out of place, or, just something was out of whack, and it was hurting when I was coughing. And throughout the day, it got more annoying. It became more of an annoyance to me. And it was my husband's birthday yesterday, and I wasn't able to go get him a present or anything, but my daughter, the week before, actually went and got his cake ingredients, and she made him a beautiful cake. And his father dropped off some linguine and clam sauce, which we love. And I invited all of his friends to do a virtual happy hour at 7 o'clock this evening. At about 6 o'clock, I was trying to finish up some work emails. It was taking me a long time because I had to keep taking breaks, and it was hard for me to go back to it. And I decided to go. I'm not sure of the timeline on that. I went to urgent care. Yes, I had my sister come over and get me because I was on the floor rolling, screaming, crying because I was having horrible muscle spasms in my shoulder and all the way down my arm and the back of my ribs when I was trying to breathe. And my sister came to get me. I still at this point thought there was just something else wrong with me. We went to Well Now, and they had called the ambulance because they thought I was having issues breathing. And they had took my pulse oxygen level, and it was low. So they said that was a symptom of the COVID, and they wanted me to go to an emergency room. So I decided to go to Kenmore because I'd had surgery there, and some of my families have, even though I would live in Shawnee Road in Wheatfield. So I took the ambulance ride there. They did some general tests and EKG on me on the way over. And I was admitted and put in a room. About a half hour after I got there, someone came in and started the process of getting me registered. And then, sorry, I'm getting tired. And then during this time, I was in pain when I was breathing. Not as much when the spasm hit, because when that did happen, I took one of the hydrocodones that I had in a Xanax to help me with the anxiety that I was having as well. I was arguing with my daughter and my husband, and they're all upset and scared. My sister was. They knew I was sick for a while, and it was hard because it was his birthday. So once I was in there, they decided to give me a chest x-ray, and they were going to try to order me a test finally. And they took my other vitals and all of those things. When the chest x-ray came back, they said I had pneumonia in both lungs, and I had the infiltrates, I think it's called. I can't remember right now. And I asked them what that was, and they said it's basically white spots showing that there is pneumonia in my lungs, both lungs. So they were giving me some new antibiotics to start treating that. And they also gave me some morphine for the pain that I was in. And I was fine for a little bit. Once they did that, they had me come in and did the swab test. So that basically feels like someone shoving a Q-tip from your nostril into your brain. And it's very fast. And I was so grateful for it. because now I could know what actually was wrong. Maybe it wasn't COVID. Maybe it's something else. Did I have lung cancer from smoking? What the hell was wrong with me? I knew I wasn't right. So I got that test over with. And then when they got the results of the x-rays back, they decided to get a CAT scan. So in the meantime, I was trying to touch base with some of my family, and of course everybody at the virtual party was wondering what was going on, and I was trying to just give little bits of information out. My phone was dying. I did not bring a phone cord because I really didn't expect to be going to the hospital. So make sure if you're going, bring a 10-foot chargeable phone cord. Okay? So when the MRI came back, she told me that I did test positive for the COVID. And also I have along with the pneumonia, I have a clot in my lower lobe of my left side. She said that if it was on the upper left side, it would be more dangerous. But it was on the lower side. We did not know why I had a clot there. There was no trauma or anything like that other than myself coughing a lot during that time that I was sick. So I just felt when she said that, okay, now I know what I have. Now I could deal with this because I know what it is. And my oxygen levels were very good still. I didn't even have to take oxygen. So that was good. I got my temperature taken several times. No temperature, perfect temperature. But the pain I was having from breathing, which I thought was something dislocated in my back, was actually a blood clot. I mean, my daughter was trying to rub it out of my back for me. Nothing was working. So the plan is to do anti-coagulative, which means they gave me blood thinners to try to get rid of the blood clot. So they gave me a room, which I'm in now. I'm at my personal room. It was funny because the lady that rolled me up here, none of the elevators were downstairs. And she rolled me up here. She's like, oh, you got your own room. And I was like, well, I should hope so. Now, during this time, one of the first women that were working on me, the PA, I hope I get all their names right. I was trying to write them down. Sarah, or Kristen, and Kristen. There was Sarah, Kristen, Erica. She gave me one test that I had. But one of the women actually lived up the road from me. I thanked them very much and told them I was very concerned about their safety too. They did say it was a slow day at this hospital, which I was grateful for, not just for me, that there weren't a lot of sick people with us at Camera Mercy. That was just a good thing. I wanted to hang on. So then I had another nurse, Alyssa. She looked like she's about 6 months pregnant, waiting on me. I just can't imagine doing that. So I noticed that they were starting to stand back a little bit further, and I kind of had a feeling something was going on. And they took every precaution, possible to make sure they were safe and that I was safe. And I just want to thank them because I don't know why, but God made people that do what they do. And they're so brave. So after that, I am supposed to get some kind of sonogram on my legs to make sure I don't have any clots in my legs. But they got me up to my room, and then I called my sister, one of my sisters in Florida, to tell her that I was tested positive. I called my mom a little bit earlier when I didn't know the results, because I knew she'd be up all night if I didn't call her. She's probably still up right now. But her and my other sister, who drove me to the hospital, who was exposed to me, and I feel guilty about that. Anyway, they're going to find out tomorrow morning that I am positive and that I have a blood clot in my lung. So my sister's going to help me tell them. And I also had to call my husband and my daughter and tell them. And they're both very scared. There are many positive aspects to this, but it's very scary. So not only now I know that I have it, but I asked the nurse, what do I do when I go home, like with my husband and my daughter? Like, what do we do in our house, you know? And she suggested that they quarantine themselves, you know, separately in the home for 2 weeks. But I would really like to be able to get them tested, because they also had instances. They were the one going to the store for me all week. I mean, they're both perfectly healthy, but I would like them to be able to have a test so that they know if they're carrying this thing. When the government talks about opening schools, you change your attitude. We need to have tests. These doctors and nurses, they need to have equipment. I'm wearing a Home Depot mask in the hospital that my sister got 3 months ago that I was picking on her about. They don't have things to spare in here. Every time they try to limit their trips to the rooms, otherwise they have to throw out the equipment they have on while they're in the rooms. Where is this stuff? Why don't we have this stockpiled? And why do we have to order this from another country? I don't understand. I don't care who the hell you are. Bad planning. Bad execution. And I hold my government responsible if I don't make it out of this. I hold them responsible because they failed. They dragged their feet. They said everybody was going to get testing, and you can't get a test. A tiger at the zoo can get a test. In New York, we're 8 hours away from the hot spot. I'm so happy our governor has fought tooth and nail to get us what he did, and these workers what he did get them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation at all. So upset about it. Okay, so enough of that. I just hope you Americans are upset about it too. Don't vote for this asshole that is not running our country at all. He's inept, and he can't make a decision or the right decision. And he can't stick to his decisions either. So, the reason I wanted to make this video is because I'm just your average person. I'm not Chris Cuomo. I'm not a movie star. I'm a 46-year-old healthy woman that has a daughter. I was going to the gym 3 days a week. I was working. I make a good living. I don't go anywhere. And right now, I'm sitting in here with COVID-19 4 weeks after I was sick. And it hurts excruciatingly when I talk or breathe. And it was hurting me so bad when they moved me to my room. I didn't know how I was going to make it another hour. And they said, well, she just gave you some morphine. And I didn't think that was right because I know I was talking to my sister on the phone. So I looked at my phone. I told my sister I had to hang up because the pain wore off. So the pain feels from this clot in my lung like someone's stabbing you in the back every time you take a breath. I will never smoke again. I swear to God I will not. I need every bit of strength I have to fight this. I asked them if they felt like, since it had been so long, if it was mostly over. And there's no way to tell that even. I could have gotten it a week ago when I went to the wine store. You know, maybe my immunity was low. I should have stayed home. I just needed to leave my house one time and go for a car ride. And I needed some damn wine. It's hard to be quarantined. My daughter's only 20. She can't purchase it. So, okay. So that's where I am. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. After they gave me the morphine again at around 12:15, it did not work. So I came up to my room. I had to use the bathroom. It was very painful. I really couldn't even go. So they came in and I don't remember what they were doing, hooking me up to more EKGs and stuff. And I asked them if I could go again, so I did. And it was still very painful. I was basically screaming while I'm peeing. Okay? I know it's hard for these nurses to hear that, but I could not control it. So at about 2:30, I called the nurse again because she said that she was calling the doctor in charge of whatever, because they had thought that they had just given the stuff to me when in actuality it had been a couple hours, but it didn't even affect. So they've changed my medication from morphine to Dilaudid now, and hopefully I can get some sleep tonight. But I wanted to write this all down. My nurse right now is Bree. She's been great. Everybody has been great here. This is a great hospital. 5 years ago, basically I think this weekend, I had been here for back surgery, and same thing. And I believe my mother had a hip replacement here. So thank you to this hospital. I asked them how many people were sick with the COVID in the hospital, and they said they weren't positive, but the number 2 came up. So that's good. I think that's a positive thing, and I hope it's been quiet here, and that's positive too. But I hope it stays that way. But the whole point of this is every American needs to be tested. So I don't care what party you are. You're all part of the fucking human party. And we should all be in this together. If you're a patriot, you are for your fellow patriots. They are human beings. And we need to have this test done. Not 3 weeks from now, tomorrow. And I want to know why it hasn't been done yet. This could have saved me from talking or touching several people 3 weeks ago when I was just starting to feel sick. I don't know what else to say. But I am going to get through this. Do you understand what I'm saying? I am a fighter. I've already had a couple near-death experiences. This one, I'm very scared, because it doesn't affect me, but my daughter and my husband. I want to be a grandma still. There's things I want to do in life. I want to start a crazy t-shirt line. I want to live in Florida in the winters. I want to spend more time with my best friends that I've gotten so close with over the last few years. I just want everything in my middle age to start smoothing out. But I am not 60. I didn't have any pre-existing conditions. And this is where I am right now. So all of you governors, like the douche down in Florida, that says no one's dying under 60. There are people that have died, children, babies, teens, and they also can carry this. They can also carry this to their family members. If you open the schools and you open the stadiums until everybody can get testing or this is eradicated, you are responsible for the lives of everyone that dies from COVID from today on. I hold you responsible, and I hope this country and the true patriots that are for humans, not parties, hold these people accountable. I will make another blog tomorrow. I'm not going to post this while I'm sick. I'm going to tell my daughter where they're located. I don't want to alarm my mother. So the Dilaudid did work better than the morphine. It's been very painful this whole time to talk, but I needed to get this story out. I love all my family. I love all my friends. I love all my cousins, my aunts, my second cousins. I love Tim McGraw. And I love my clients. I'm very grateful for all of you. And we need to get through this together. And hopefully I'll help take like some of the fear. I was inspired to do this by Chris Cuomo because I think it is a service to show people what it feels like. When you're pulling up into the hospital, you don't know if you're going to leave again or see your family again. I don't know. Thank God I just got my life insurance policies fixed. So make sure you have life insurance and make sure you have health insurance. Make sure you stay home and care about people other than yourself, please. Okay, I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm going to try. I'm still in pain. I don't know if I'm going to be able to when I breathe. It's 3:15 in the morning. All right, good night and God bless.